I've emailed most of you, and I addressed John King at the forum, and I asked him a couple of questions, which I've emailed over and over and never got a response. John McDonald was the only one who continually engaged with me. My question was posed to him is why children who are delayed in reading are required to take the same exact test as their peers. We all of us are here because we're all passionate about pieces of the Common Core and Race to the Top and APPR and In Bloom. And my personal concern right now is the high-stakes testing as it pertains to special ed kids. King has repeatedly said, that this is all supposed to be controlled at the district level. Have we all not heard that? And yet, the choice for my child to take a test that is not appropriate to measure what he knows is taken away from me. I don't have that choice. The district and I don't have the choice to come together and decide what is appropriate for him to measure what he actually knows. Instead, a test is placed in front of him that he may not be able to read because he is delayed in reading. And I speak in terms of my son, but this applies to the majority of children with special needs. So, I understand, I have a couple of questions, and I didn't really write anything out, it's just kind of thoughts. I understand that this money is connected to the Race to the Top money that we accepted. And I don't follow politics, so I don't know the story behind this. But my question when that was said to me was, well, didn't we ask the question, how does this impact special ed kids? And if we did, shame on us for taking the money. And if we asked that question and chose to ignore it, shame on us for taking the money. Because in the meantime, there is an entire community of special ed children that are not being tested properly to monitor what they know and what they don't know. They are going to get lost. I understand that we are going to be requesting a waiver for 2% of the children in New York State to be tested at their instructional level instead of their grade level. My question is, when is that going to be released? Because I want to read the waiver, because I want to know who determines who qualifies for this 2%. And do they realize that this doesn't cover all the children where they aren't able to read the test at this level? That needs to be said. In the meantime, April is a few months away. So what's the plan? There isn't one. So in the meantime, most children with IEPs have accommodation where they get double test time or time and a half. So the tests are between 70 to 90 minutes. You expect a child to sit in a test for 3 hours and take a test they can't even comprehend. And I don't have a choice as a parent to refuse this. I actually am in a district where there couldn't be any more loveliness being presented to people who are refusing the test. So I don't understand why superintendents don't allow parents to do that. I don't understand it. So the answer isn't, I can't wrap my head around why it has to be difficult for parents to be able to provide a letter to a superintendent on behalf of a child that, one, is developmentally delayed, and two, if a test is placed in front of them, they don't know they don't know that process. they're brought up to respect their teachers and to do what they're told. So you're putting the burden of refusing a test on a child who is developmentally delayed. That is so backwards. The faith that I have in the education system as it relates to John King and the Board of Regents is zero. And all the special ed children are going to get screwed because of this. So I know that I'm very angry because there is no common sense here. There is no common sense for the special ed kids to not be able to take a test that is appropriate to measure what they know. And wait, I have one more thing. So, so what happens if this waiver is not approved? What is Plan B?
You want me to answer?
Sorry, yes.
Take turns jumping in.
Okay. Let me answer this a couple ways. I mean, the Senate came out the other day with a bunch of recommendations. All right. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. But sort of like, look, we've done 10, 11, this is our 11th forum, and we've listened to parents. And from what I've seen is, number one, for an average student, most of the curriculum is not appropriate. It's not age appropriate, not developmentally appropriate. But there are no rubrics either for kids with disability. And there are no rubrics for kids that are advanced learners. And in my opinion, if you wanted to destroy public education, this would be a good model for it, okay? That being said, and I've said it in other forums, this is an election year, okay? Call your representatives. Tell them this is your number one issue. And what I can say to you, I have a petition out there that goes right to the governor's office, all right? And close to 21,000 people have signed this petition and sent it to a letter to the governor saying, put the brakes on, stop, all right? And there's a Dr. Rella that has been very eloquent with it, and he said, stop it, fix it if you can, and if you can't fix it, scrap it. Now, the one thing I would tell you is that, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, everybody else will speak for themselves, if you know that this isn't working, okay, why do we keep pushing it, all right? And I think everybody's got to get, I don't know if you heard, but the governor said that he doesn't have anything to do with education. Have you heard that? And if you believe that, please come talk to me later. I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you, really cheap, hardly used, okay? You'll see this paperwork out front. It gives you all the contact information for the governor, right? Can I suggest you reach out and touch him? Call him, email him, tweet him, Facebook him, and tell him your story. Tell him how this is affecting your child. Tell them how it's affecting your home. Tell them how it's affecting your classroom and your school. In my opinion, what we need to do is we need to put the brakes on. We need to stop, okay? And what we need to do is bring educators into the room. And we need, people that deal with kids with special ed. And if the idea is to have a set of standards, all right, as an outline, that's fine. We do have certain school districts. You'll hear some superintendents go, very few, but you'll hear a couple say, we love Common Core. Greatest thing. But then when I usually question them about it, which part of it do you like? Is it the math? Well, we don't use the math. Okay. Well, did you rewrite the curriculum in any way? And they go, oh yeah, we brought our teachers and we rewrote everything. So let me get this straight. Basically, you're not using Common Core. So you like the title of it, okay? But, you're not using it. So what I can say to you is I think that whoever wrote this never spent a day in a classroom. I think whoever wrote this never had a child that was a special ed student, okay? And I don't think that these people collectively were actually brought in to help write this curriculum. So personally, what I believe is everybody joins together and everybody yells enough, then the bottom line is they have to put the brakes on this. They have no choice. But, you know, as far as building a plane in the sky, you know, as we're flying it, this is, and I said today, I think I put it on Facebook, that I have Marilyn Tish and I have King running, they're like the two idiots running around on a Titanic, that after they just hit the iceberg, saying, listen, this ship can't sink, okay? And I think they're wrong, and I think that when we go back in January, our main goal is to put the brakes on this nonsense and actually bring educators to the table, right? And let's see how we can fix, if we can fix, and if we can't fix it, scrap it. And I mean, do we have superintendents here? Any superintendents? And what's your graduation rate here? 96%. 96%? Can you tell me what's broken? Nothing. That needed to be fixed?
Meredith, you can see why we love Al on the floor of the assembly. We have a lot of fun with Al. Just a couple of things, and on the issue of the testing and the waiver, one thing I would say to everyone who's here, we know enough about a broader range of subjects, enough to be dangerous, so we're always working on getting up to speed on the expert, to be at expert level on any issue. So we do have teams of we're like Verizon, we have teams of researchers and policy folks, budget folks behind us. So if there are questions here that come up, like the 2% waiver, we're just gonna make sure we identify staff, make sure that you leave your contact information, because we're learning as we go along too. So thank you for highlighting that piece. Back to your other point about the parental consent. I share your frustration, and again, I have 4 young people. My youngest is a high school senior this year, all educated K through 12 in one small rural school in Schoharie County, and where I'm a graduate as well. And the issue of parental consent to me is a huge issue that has been chipped away at over time. And I think part of, in our deliberation on Common Core, I think there has to be a separate message, clear message to institutions. Hey folks, we're their parents. Wake up. We pay for them, we feed them, we clothe them, we educate them, we care for them, and we have a responsibility. They're underage minors, for their health care, for their education, and we reserve the right as parents, P.S. facious bureaucracy, we're the parents, to opt in, opt out, and care for our children. That's our responsibility. So you hit it right on the head. We heard it also from Monica, the same thing. So the parental rights piece too, we want to emphasize, and that gets back to health care and any number of things. We can't ask for our child's health records at age 12. What's that all about? You know, all sorts of things like that. So I do want to say all of us share your anger. And again, we keep it contained because we're up here on the panel. We're not supposed to explode as much.
Yeah.
But we share that anger and frustration. And you have a bureaucracy that's running headlessly around and expecting that they can hide. And Al's point's perfect. It's perfect because the bureaucracy hides. So you have the commissioner who's appointed by the regents, who's appointed by individual members of the legislature, all right, majority, and behind that is the governor and the administration. So if the bureaucracy is not responding, we go over the top. So his point's well taken. The governor's there, we're here, and we put brakes on this. If it doesn't work, and this goes back to the gentleman who asked about the federal funding. You know, the funding came because we in New York State were facing a budget deficit. This was broached to the legislature. Well, here's $700 million, will help, it's going to help education. The language, as you heard from Laney, was very broad. There was no descriptive analysis. There was no detailed content of how the rollout would occur. This is almost like other federal and state initiatives that happen very broadly, and they make it up as they go along. And that's why, as you heard from our colleagues here, this is Civics 101. We, the people, say, knock it off, bureaucracy. Be responsible to us. Government responds to the people, not people responding to the government. And that's what we're here for today. So thank you for for being so passionate. Thank you.